Hey, this is Sam Black with a vintage cube draft. This pack doesn't have any really top-end cards. The best things available, I think, are Counterspell, Izzet Signet, the lands, and then Grave Titan Batterskull, and I suppose Eternal Witness. I think that the best options to stay wide open are Izzet Signet and Batterskull, but I'm actually going to take Counterspell here. I've been really impressed with counterspells in the cube in general, and while this is a long way from starting a draft with Mana Drain, it is something I really want to have access to in a lot of decks. Here we have some more exciting cards. Griselbrand is the best version of this thing, like the best Reanimator creature, but I'm actually looking at Mox Diamond, Simic Signet, and Mana Confluence, Mystic Confluence, and I'm just going to go with the Mystic Confluence here and start working on a blue control deck of some kind. Mox Diamond is a very powerful card if you're doing unfair things, but it's kind of the more fair you are, the worse it is. And I already have a card that exists just to trade 1-for-1, which you want to do less of that when you're playing Mox Diamond. This is kind of like the opposite of Ancestral Vision, where with Ancestral Vision you want as many 1-for-1s as possible. With Mox Diamond you really don't want 1-for-1s, and instead you want cards that are trying to win the game by themselves or do something really big every turn they're in play. And in general, I don't prioritize Signets as much as other people because I like cheap spells more, I'm guessing. So here, I think the options are, the Signet is still on the table, although I'm not as excited about a Signet that doesn't share any colors with cards that I have. The other cards that I'm considering between are Creeping Tar Pit and Compulsive Research, although I could certainly see myself taking something like Abbot of Carroll Keep, or Pack Rat, or Rakdos' Return if I were in the mood or something, but for me I think that it's between Compulsive Research and Creeping Tar Pit, and I think Compulsive Research leaves me more open. Also, the thing that I was saying about Mox Diamond kind of directly applies to Compulsive Research here, where having counterspells that trade 1-for-1 card draw goes really well with it. Obviously, Mystic Confluence is kind of already card draw, and you don't necessarily need more card draw to complement your card draw, but I'm happy just having a bunch of good blue control cards. Here the pick is between Impulse and Glenelond Archmage, and I think both cards are fantastic. Other cards that could stand out to people who are looking to do certain things, certainly Yawgmoth's Bargain, but that's really not the kind of thing I'm looking to do. I don't think it would be very reasonable to take any of the other cards here. This isn't the kind of cube where you want to prioritize Supreme Verdict that highly. Archmage is really impressive, but it's also pretty slow and clunky. I kind of just want to take Impulse. I feel like Impulse plays well with other instants and leaves the deck more flexible. Just kind of improves whatever you have instead of giving it new dimension. Could easily be wrong to take it over Archmage, because Archmage is a great card, but here I'm just going to take Sword of Body and Mind. I'm not a creature deck at all right now, but I don't actually mind pairing cheap creatures with my counterspells, and Sword of Body and Mind is really good at winning games by itself. I think a lot of people would take Brain Freeze in this spot, and I think that's totally reasonable. I'm actually totally fine playing Brain Freeze. I might even talk myself into taking Brain Freeze here, because what I'm going to say about it is that I'm totally fine playing it in a control deck rather than a storm deck, and just trying to play a long game, and then at some point you've built up a hand with Compulsive Research and Mystic Confluence, and you use things like Impulse, and just do it for like a storm of 4 or something, and that's enough to win the game. kind of leaves me more open than Sword of Body and Mind. Sword of Body and Mind's so good, but I'm so far from being a creature deck right now. So we're just going to go for the Brain Freeze. And I mean, I could even become Storm at this point. Here, I'm looking at Mystical Tutor, Force Spike, Badlands. I have very mixed feelings on Force Spike. I feel like I might not respect it enough in general. I don't often have it in my decks. This is certainly the right deck for it because obviously I'm going to always have blue mana, and it plays really well with card draw because it's so good if you can actually trade it for anything. I'm going to go this way over Mystical Tutor. I have kind of an unusual hatred for the tutors that put me down a card. This is an easy mana leak. This is all of the blue counter. I've never seen a deck that started with this many counter spells this early in this cube. There just aren't that many. I have almost all of them. I don't have Mana Drain or Force of Will, but this is a lot of counter spells for this far into the draft. So, kind of lets me play a different game than one often can here, where I can really just plan to counter most of what my opponent's doing. And obviously there's no reason to move into a different color or something rather than taking this. So here, I'm looking at Mindslaver, Thada Adel, Reflector Mage. Mindslaver offers an ability, like, it's a blue playable top-end win condition. I'm going to go with Thada. It doesn't require moving into another color like Reflector Mage, which is a reasonable card. It's a very powerful card if you can reliably cast it, which a lot of decks have trouble with. It's also I could actually take Wildfire here for what it's worth, but I like Thada a lot. And what I was going to say about this is I'm likely to not play it main, but it's just so good against most blue decks and some other decks that it's good to have access to. Here, a lot of these would be reasonable if I were their color, though most of them not very exciting, but I'm just going to take Breeding Pool here and have the fix. Dig Through Timetabling is amazing for me. I'm the perfect dig deck because I'm just all spells that go to the graveyard and trade, and this refuels. It's just kind of clearly perfect. I do want some creature removal. This is between Roast and Timely Reinforcements. Both are very good for what I'm doing. I'm going to go with Timely. And this is between Chandra and Supreme Verdict, and neither are exciting. I'm going to go with Verdict, partially because I have the Timely. But I'm going to take Firebolt over Mirran Crusader here. And I'm actually going to take Mesmeric Fiend here, because Nekar seems really hard to cast. So, totally open on what my other color could be. I have at least something pulling me to every other color. This is probably just True Name Nemesis. Oh, there's Preordain. That's interesting. True Name Nemesis is a really powerful card, but so is Preordain, and Preordain makes Dig better, and True Name Nemesis gives me a way to win, which I don't have, but it's also in the same token, I guess I have Brain Freeze, and this is like off plan in that it's a creature and I don't have any other creatures. It's a good only creature to have because it's not really turning on most opposing removal spells, but it's also just, alright, my plan is to kill you on turn 10 by attacking with a True Name Nemesis. It's just not a very compelling plan in this cube, even if with this many counter spells I might be able to do it. But I'm going to take the Preordain because I have Brain Freeze and Dig Through Time, and it plays really well with both of those, and it's just a great card. I think Snapcaster is better in my deck than Ponder. Obviously, I'm all cards that I can Snapcast, and it's a great card. If it weren't here, I would take the Ponder. If that weren't here, then I think it's pretty interesting between Path to Exile, Basalt Monolith. Outside arguments to be made for Ulamog, but I don't think it would be right. It would mostly be about not attacking myself, like being able to reshuffle everything, but that's really not much of a concern when you have Brain Freeze, since your opponent's almost certainly getting decked before you are at that point. Anyway, I'm taking Snapcaster. Having Dig makes Treasure Cruise less valuable, but everything else about my deck makes Treasure Cruise great, so I'm going to take Treasure Cruise. The alternatives would be Wooded Foothills and Hedron Archive. Wooded Foothills is nice because I have Breeding Pool that it can get. Hedron Archive is nice because it's Hedron Archive. The fetch land helps cast Dig easier, but I'm so good at putting spells in the graveyard that I'm just going to take Cruise. I kind of wish Thought Scour was in this cube. There's a lot of Delve, and I frequently wish I had that to enable it. Alright, so there's nothing that I know that I can cast in this pack. And I don't think I'm going to be 2 other colors and blue, so I don't think these lands are going to help. So we're basically looking at... I think Courser's going to be too hard to cast. Freyalise is a little easier to cast, but I don't really think I'm the kind of deck that's looking to tap out for a Planeswalker. So we're basically looking at Ulamog and Faith's Fetters. Ulamog is a thing that I could potentially want no matter what colors. Also, Elzeric is an option, but I don't think it's very powerful in my deck. I think I'm just going to take Faith's Fetters. I think Shackles is better than Isochron Scepter, but both are really good in my deck. Could also see taking Sphinx's Revelation, but I have plenty of card draw. I have plenty of top-end card draw without Revelation. Scepter is really good when you have this many things to put on it, but Shackles is pretty great when you're mono blue or close to it. Kind of deals with the don't have any removal problem that I have going on. I'm going to take Daze here. I don't think I want to play Riftwing Cloudsgate, so I think I just take Selesnya Signet. Probably Hollowed Fountain here. And then I'm planning to play Faith's Fetters and sideboard, or probably just main deck Timely Reinforcements. I don't have any creatures. It's basically always going to give me creatures. It's kind of sweet. I'm not really big on top, especially when I have no fetch lands. This is Unexpectedly Absent, which I'll play if I end up being more white, but if I'm just splashing it, then I won't. Dragonlord Ochitai is totally perfect for my deck. I really wanted another win condition. It's an easy splash, and I get the good play pattern with it, where when I play it, it has hexproof, and then when I attack with it, I have counter spells up basically all the time. Lightning Helix, I guess, is the card here that I'd be most likely to want to sideboard in. I can't see myself doing anything with Student Warfare, but at least it's likely to be castable. Ditto. So if I get some fetches, I'm in a position to splash some kind of green card like Dragonlord Dromoka. Other than that, I'm going to be blue splash white, not playing Breeding Pool. Could probably make these cards a little bit smaller, make it easier to see everything. I think this deck is good. I haven't really drafted a deck like this because I haven't really had the opportunity. It's kind of an interesting way that things developed, where I was just trying to not go into another color and there kept being solid blue cards. Sower is interesting. Elish Norn is probably better, since I don't have other creatures. I could also just take Mana Tithe. I kind of like Elish Norn. Well, I don't know. Maybe I like Mana Tithe. I've so little experience playing these things in the cube, which is just a little weird. Yeah, I don't think I really need Elish Norn. But it's really weird to splash Mana Tithe if I don't end up with a lot of white sources in my deck, and I don't really want to play a lot of white sources to support it. Maybe I just sideboard Sower of Temptation. I kind of like that, actually. I don't love playing it main because my opponent is not going to use creature removal on my other stuff, so they'll have it for this. But it's going to be super good against some decks. Deceiver Exarch is not exciting when I can't possibly be comboing with it. It's just a flash guy. This is not a good pack for me. We're basically looking at... I'm not interested in the white 1-drops. So we're looking at Shrine of Burning Rage as a removal spell, which is kind of on the table, actually. Dismember as a removal spell with a different drawback. Fire Ice, planning to probably only be able to cast the ice side unless I maybe find some free red sources to have outs on fire. Fire's pretty good, and ice isn't a bad cycler. I think it's between... That's probably better than Shrine of Burning Rage. I don't see myself with enough creatures for Sword of War and Peace or enough artifacts for Workshop. I'll just sideboard Fire Ice. Polluted Delta stands out, unfortunately. I could take Jace. I actually think I prefer the Delta to the Jace, which is a little bit weird, but I have the 2 Delve cards that I'm trying to power. I want to keep my island count high for Shackles. I don't really want to tap out on 4 for a Planeswalker. It's obviously a little sad that I can't take Mind Twist here. If I had Mind Twist, Delta, and Scrubland, I'd kind of have a nice little thing going on, but pretty far from that world. But yeah, I think it's just too bad for my deck to tap out, and I don't need this as a card draw source, so I'm just going to take the Delta. Leaning Arid Mesa here, considering Lotus Bloom. I don't think I need it. Yeah, I'm just going to take Arid Mesa. Declaration in Stone would also be okay, but I don't love giving my opponent clues, and I do love getting a land in the graveyard. Elspeth or Anticipate? I feel like Elspeth is something my deck needs a lot more than Anticipate is, if I need it. It adds a dimension to my deck. I just don't know if it's a dimension that I want. Of course, having access to things like Impulse and Preordain makes the dimension a lot better, but Anticipate makes my Cruise and Dig and Brain Freeze better. I'm just going to go for Anticipate. This is probably Ancestral Vision. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think any of the other things make sense, really. Thing in the Ice, I guess. Thing in the Ice is quite a thing in this deck. Flips, like, all the time. I wonder if that's better than Ancestral Vision. Has the turns on removal problem, but it does flip really well. I'm going to take Ancestral Vision because it's more fun for me. I guess there's no reason to take Steam Vents. Oh, Steam Vents turns on fire? Oh, I think Oh, and Arid Mesa can find it. So if Arid Mesa's already found Hallowed Fountain, then I can find Steam Vents. And I get to turn on Fire with 3 different ways to cast it. I think that's actually better than Phantasmal Image. Huh. Delver. I could probably get into Delver. Like, it's kind of okay to play Delver with no other creatures, because if you draw it, then you're just doing that thing, and if you don't, then it doesn't matter, it's in your deck. Mutavault would be a card that I'd probably play if I weren't taking Delver, but I think I want the Delver. Blood Crypt would allow Polluted Delta to get that, but it can already get Steam Vents. I'll just put Izzet Charm on my sideboard and not do anything with it. I guess there might be a world where I side out white and bring that in. Take the Shrine of Burning Rage here in case I need the removal spell. Wow, I tabled Jace and Blades Blazer. I think I want Jace. Never know, that could actually come up. I'm not going to have double white for this. I think I want access to the creature land, theoretically, and as I don't think I'm going to play it, but I might. I was hoping I would table Thing in the Ice. That was really lucky. What a gift. This deck is sweet. I wonder if I'm mono blue. Probably not. It looks like I'm not over on cards. Alright, so let's adjust the size of the stuff. Okay, let's... So this is 23 right now. It's kind of convenient, but I think there might have been... Oh, I was thinking that I'd probably want to play Supreme Verdict. I think I want to be 17 lands, but I could certainly see a case for 16 because I have so much card draw. But I don't want to have to impulse for a land if I can avoid it. So I think I want to cut a spell from here. It's probably Supreme Verdict. Supreme Verdict really throws off my mana since it's double white. I can side it in if Supreme Verdict is what I need to be doing. This is not like other decks I've drafted. I say that a lot, but this one really isn't. Celestia Signet in this deck is weird, but probably good. But it's awkward because I can't play it on turn 3 and leave up a counter spell. Like Mana Leak. I guess I'm just trying to play it on turn 2, and that's fine. It also gives me a white source that isn't a plains, which is nice. Keep my shackles count high. I'm going to be doing a good amount of sideboarding with this deck. I wonder if I should be white over red. So if I cut Timely Reinforcements, Faith Fetters, and Dragonlord Ojutai, I can add Izzet Charm, Electrolyze, Shrine of Burning Rage. I could also splash both of them for Lightning Helix, but I think that's more of a... Oh, or I could play Firebolt, Izzet Charm, Electrolyze. Those actually might be better than Timely Reinforcements, Faith Fetters, Dragonlord Ojutai. Now that I have the Delver Thing in the Ice to win... It's interesting. They're both good against aggressive decks specifically, but like differently. I think I want to go this way main and sideboard the other way, but it's really close. Getting the Signet with the white kind of matters. It's funny that my lands are exactly what they are, where it's just totally the same. Even my Arid Mesa is Arid Mesa, so it doesn't care about the difference. So that gives me 4 white sources and 3 red sources right now. I don't think I want Lightning Helix. I'm wondering if I want to be a Jeskai deck with Lightning Helix, but I think at that point I'm looking for a double splash and it's not worth it. Is it Terminal Electrolyzer really good at turning on these Delve cards? Dragonlord Ojutai is... all of this is so much sorcery tapping out type nonsense. Maybe I do want to just do this. Shrine of Burning Rage, my last card. I could play Thada or Sower. I don't want an off-color Signet in this deck. I don't have... my spells are all so cheap. I could play Sower. I already said that. I could even play Falconwrath Gorger, but I don't think that's what I want to do, but it kind of makes sense. Just protect the queen strategy, where the queen is Falconwrath Gorger. Just play it and get in there and stop them from doing anything. But Shrine of Burning Rage might be a better card at doing that anyway. Just play it and let it tick up 1 per turn. I could play these in Ojutai or these in Timely. Something to be said for these in Timely. Kind of weird to not play Helix at that point. Do not know what is best. So you want me to have 6 red sources and 15 blue sources? That's definitely not far off. Yeah, 6 red is probably enough. I really don't want to draw 2 mountains. That would be pretty disastrous. Easily more blue than I need. I could definitely be 3 color if I want. I feel like... oh, this is too many lands. So we're definitely cutting an island. Just need to add a card. It might just be... we'll try Thada. Reasonable at keeping them off creatures even if they're playing them. And I could see great things happening if I connect with it. It involves tapping out on an earlier turn than Sower, which is better. Alright, this will be my deck, but I'm looking to sideboard heavily between games.